Everybody see YoungBoy ain't mess with nobody. The boy doing his thing. But NLE Choppa, instead of him doing his own thing, he said, you know what, I'm gonna attack this man, I'm gonna mess with him.
Y'all don't know that boy Choppa, but I do.
Man, you be relevant and I said what I said, bro. You need a
like I'm crazy. I'm the fool. Okay, watch how this shit pan out. And we really gonna see who really the fucking
Choppa, listen to me. You can't go walk the runway. With that little walk, you remember that walk you had? I think I'm a bad. You can't come back to that walk.
We're talking NBA YoungBoy versus NLE Choppa. And before you click off thinking you already know the story, trust me, you don't. Because what went down between these two isn't just about a diss track. It's about psychology, power dynamics, industry politics, regional tension, and the absolute ART of making someone feel small without even raising your voice. So buckle up, hit that like button, drop a comment telling me who you think won, and let's get into this thing. Because by the time we're done, you're gonna understand why this might be the most one-sided beef in hip-hop, and why sometimes silence speaks louder than any diss track ever could. Alright, let's rewind the clock, because people out here acting like this beef just popped up overnight, like it's some new Twitter drama that started last week. Nah, this tension, it's been brewing. We're talking years of underlying energy, comparisons, subliminals, and choices that slowly built up into what we're seeing now. Take it back to 2016, NBA YoungBoy drops 38 Baby and the streets go crazy. Baton Rouge has a new voice, a new energy, a raw, unfiltered sound that's magnetic. Kids across the South are watching, and one of those kids, a teenager from Memphis named Bryson Potts. You know him better as NLE Choppa. Back then, Choppa was just another kid hooping, freestyling with his boys, trying to figure out his sound. And who was he studying? Who was the blueprint? NBA YoungBoy. And I'm not talking casual listening, I'm talking study, like homework, like film sessions before a big game. Choppa was watching YoungBoy's moves, his energy, his delivery, even his look, and it wasn't subtle. Let's talk names for a second. NBA, Never Broke Again. NLE, No Love Entertainment. You see the pattern? 3 letters, similar vibe, street-coded, raw. Then look at the music. Choppa drops Through the Rain. YoungBoy had Through the Storm. Choppa remakes Drawing Symbols. Fans start putting 2 and 2 together, and the internet does what it does best. Compare. Now, comparisons in hip-hop, that's normal. Every generation has its influences. But when it's this direct, when your whole early aesthetic feels like it's mirroring someone else's wave, people notice. And they definitely noticed with Choppa. The hairstyle, the intensity, the emotional rawness. It all felt like YoungBoy 2.0. And here's the thing, Choppa admitted it. In interviews when asked about his influences, he'd name drop YoungBoy without hesitation. NBA YoungBoy, Meek Mill, Lil Durk. He was open about it. He wasn't hiding, but being open about it doesn't mean the comparisons stop. If anything, it made them louder. So when did things actually shift from admiration to tension? March 2019. Choppa goes live on Instagram, normal day, vibing with his crew, but then his homies start talking reckless about YoungBoy. And Choppa, he tries to calm them down, like, chill, bro, chill. But the damage is done. The clip goes viral. YoungBoy catches wind of it, and YoungBoy, he doesn't let that slide. He goes live himself, addresses it directly, makes it clear he heard what was said, and he's not with the disrespect. And just like that, the internet declares it beef. Now, Choppa panics a little. He knows this could spiral, so what does he do? Damage control. He goes live getting a haircut, telling the camera, yo, NBA YoungBoy is my favorite rapper. I want to make music with him. This whole thing got blown out of proportion. Classic PR move, but the vibe, it already changed. Once that line gets crossed, even if it was accidental, the relationship is different, but it didn't stop there. Things kept escalating in the background. Choppa starts making moves that, intentionally or not, look like he's picking sides. He links up with Fredo Bang, YoungBoy's rival. They drop a collab. Fredo's out here throwing shots at YoungBoy's circle, mentioning Big Dump, and Choppa's right there on the track. Fans are like, wait, is Choppa throwing subs too? Then comes the wildest part. Choppa starts dating Young Blasian, YoungBoy's ex. Now, dating an ex is one thing, but when you're already walking a thin line with someone, the internet erupts, memes everywhere. Choppa really out here copying everything, even YB's love life. There's even a clip of Blasian cutting off Choppa's music midstream, and Twitter goes ballistic. It's looking bad for Choppa. Fast forward to January 2022. Academics post something about YoungBoy on Demon Time. Lil Reese from Chicago calls cap. And Choppa, he replies, I stamped that, meaning he's co-signing the OTF/Chicago side. That's huge, because now it's not just personal, it's political. Choppa just publicly aligned himself with YoungBoy's ops. So after all of this buildup, all this tension, all these subliminals and indirect shots, Choppa finally says, you know what? I'm done being subtle. And he drops a full-blown diss track. And listen, it's high effort. We're talking a whole music video, choreography, YoungBoy lookalikes getting mocked, name-calling, dancing, production value through the roof. This is a big budget statement. Choppa's swinging for the fences. He wants this to be a moment. He wants the internet to explode. He wants YoungBoy to feel this. The video drops. Views start racking up. Choppa fans are hyped. Oh, it's on now. YoungBoy gotta respond. Everyone's waiting. What's YB gonna do? Is he about to drop a full diss? A music video clapping back? A whole project aimed at Choppa? And then YoungBoy responds, but not the way anyone expected. He drops something called Zero IQ Freestyle. And when I tell you this response was minimal, I mean minimal. It's not even a full diss track. It's a few bars mixed in with other content delivered in the most calm, half-mumbled, low-energy way possible. No music video, no production, just raw, unfiltered, almost bored-sounding bars. And the lines, they're slick, but they're not aggressive. You ain't really slime. Casual shots. Dismissive tone. The title itself, Zero IQ, is an insult. But the delivery? It's like YoungBoy recorded it while half asleep. Like he's brushing Choppa off mid-yawn. Now here's where it gets deep.
Everybody see YoungBoy ain't mess with nobody. The boy doing his thing. But NLE Choppa, instead of him doing his own thing, he said, you know what, I'm gonna attack this man, I'm gonna mess with him.
Because on the surface, you might think, wait, Choppa dropped a whole video and YoungBoy barely responded. Doesn't that mean Choppa won? Wrong. Dead wrong. And here's why. In hip-hop, there's two ways to hurt someone in a beef. You can go loud, quotables, aggression, viral moments, memes. That's the Pusha T approach. The story of Adidon method, scorched earth, or you can go cold. You can act like the person isn't even worth your full attention. You can give them just enough to acknowledge they exist, but not enough to make them feel like a real threat. And that's what YoungBoy did. Think about it. Choppa put in work, time, money, creativity, energy. He wanted a war. He wanted a back and forth that would dominate headlines for weeks. And YoungBoy said, nah, you get a freestyle. You get a few bars. And I'm not even gonna put effort into the delivery. That's devastating, because now Choppa looks thirsty. He looks like he's doing too much for someone who doesn't even care. And the internet? They picked up on it immediately. But before Choppa's diss, YoungBoy had already sent a warning shot that was way more surgical. A track called I Know. And this song, it's not loud. It's not aggressive. It's eerie. It's psychological.
Don't know though. You hear me? Y'all don't know that boy in trouble. Y'all don't know that boy in trouble. Y'all don't know that boy in trouble, but I do. I do. And y'all think I'm crazy. I'm the fool. Okay, watch how this pan out, and we gonna really see who really the fool. And we really gonna see who really the one. Wipe that spit off your face.
YoungBoy references Choppa's mom, who's also his manager. He flips Choppa's own words, "Why be my favorite rapper?" and turns it into a threat. He mentions the young Blasian situation dismissively, like it's beneath him, and then he drops a line about King Von that shakes the whole internet. The song is cold, calculated. It's not a diss track in the traditional sense. It's a lesson. But let's zoom out for a second and talk about what this really means for Choppa. Because beyond the bars and the memes, there's something deeper here. Imagine this. You're a young artist. You worked hard to build your name. You got hits. Shot Flow blew up. You got a fan base. You're making money. You're successful. But everywhere you go, every interview, every comment section, every reaction video, people are comparing you to NBA YoungBoy. He sound like YB. He look like YB. He's just a Memphis version of YB. That's gotta be exhausting. That's gotta mess with your head. Because no matter what you do, you're living in someone else's shadow. And the one way to break free from that? Create separation. Make it clear you're your own artist. And sometimes the only way to do that is through conflict, so Choppa drops the diss. He's thinking, if I go at him and he goes back at me, we're equals. We're in a beef. That means I'm on his level, but YoungBoy refuses to give him that. YoungBoy says, "You're not my equal. You're not my competition. You're a footnote." And you can see the frustration in Choppa's face in those clips online. He's heated. He's warning people, y'all don't know, that boy in trouble. But trouble for ho, because from where everyone's standing, it looks like YoungBoy just walked away from the fight without a scratch. And the internet? Oh man, the internet had a field day with this. YB fans came out in full force. YB said, "Who? This the coldest non-response ever. He didn't even try and still won." Choppa put in all that effort just to get a shrug. The memes were ruthless. Side-by-side comparisons of Choppa's high-budget video next to YoungBoy's low-effort freestyle. Clips of YoungBoy looking bored. Jokes about zero IQ being aimed at Choppa's strategy. Choppa fans, on the other hand, were frustrated. They wanted the war. They wanted bars. They wanted a back and forth that would go down in history. Some tried to spin it like YB's scared, but that narrative didn't stick. Because if YoungBoy's scared of anyone, it's not NLE Choppa. The man's been in beefs with Lil Durk, had tension around King Von, dealt with legal cases, street politics, and industry pressure. Choppa's not even in the top 5 of his problems. And that's the thing. Public perception is everything in a beef. And right now, the perception is that Choppa swung hard and missed, while YoungBoy didn't even bother to duck. But let's talk about what's happening behind the scenes. Because this isn't just about two rappers going at it. There's industry politics, label dynamics, and regional tension all playing a role. First, the regional angle, Memphis versus Baton Rouge. Now, Memphis has a legendary rap history. 3-6 Mafia, Yo Gotti, Young Dolph. The city has its own sound, its own legacy. Baton Rouge, that wave was built by YoungBoy. He put that city on the map in a way it hadn't been before. And Choppa, being from Memphis, got criticized for not repping his city's sound enough. People said he was biting the Baton Rouge style instead of carrying the Memphis torch. That added another layer to the tension. It's not just personal, it's about pride. Then there's the business side. YoungBoy allegedly owns part of United Masters, the platform Choppa distributes his music through. If that's true, that means YoungBoy is literally profiting off Choppa's success. Imagine beefing with someone who's getting a cut of your earnings. That's a power dynamic Choppa can't win. And then there's the Chicago connection. Choppa aligning with Lil Durk and OTF? That's a major move, because YoungBoy and Durk have one of the most intense ongoing tensions in hip-hop right now. By siding with Durk, Choppa's not just beefing with YoungBoy, he's making himself part of a bigger war, and that's dangerous, because now he's not just dealing with YB, he's dealing with YB's fan base, his circle, and all the weight that comes with that. So why does YoungBoy's approach work? Why does doing less actually make him look stronger? Because in hip-hop, attention is currency, and YoungBoy refuses to give Choppa that currency. He refuses to make him a main character in his story. By responding with minimal effort, he's saying, "You're not worth my time. You're not a priority. I've got bigger things going on." And he does. Legal cases, business ventures, actual beef with people on his level, family, music, a whole empire to run, a full diss track aimed at Choppa. That's a waste of energy. It gives Choppa exactly what he wants: relevance. By staying calm, staying detached, and giving just a few bars, YoungBoy keeps the power. He avoids quotables that could be used in court or twisted by media. He avoids escalating something that doesn't benefit him, and most importantly, he makes Choppa look like he's reaching, and now Choppa's stuck. Because what does he do next? If he drops another diss, he looks desperate, like he's begging for attention, like he's trying too hard to force a reaction. If he stops, he looks like he backed down, like he started something he couldn't finish. The smartest move for Choppa at this point: pivot. Focus on his own lane, stop trying to define himself in opposition to YoungBoy, and start building his own legacy. Drop hits, build his brand, let the music speak. Because this beef, it's not helping him, it's keeping him in YoungBoy's shadow, which is exactly what he was trying to escape. So what does this whole situation tell us about these two artists? Strategic, selective, refuses to engage in beef that doesn't serve him. He's not scared, he's smart, he knows his value, he knows his position, and he's not about to let someone use him as a stepping stone. Hungry, frustrated, still climbing, still trying to step out of the comparisons. The diss track was a swing for independence, a way to say, I'm my own man. But it backfired, because instead of looking like an equal, he looked like someone trying to prove he belongs. And that, right there, is why this might be one of the most disrespectful moments in modern rap beef history. Not because of what was said, but because of what wasn't. YoungBoy basically told Choppa, you're not worth a real response. You get a freestyle, you get a few seconds of my time, and that's it. And in hip-hop, where ego is everything, where respect is currency, that type of dismissal, that hurts. Silent disrespect cuts deeper than any bar ever could. Choppa wanted a war. YoungBoy gave him crumbs. Choppa wanted to be seen as a threat. YoungBoy treated him like a minor inconvenience. And the internet saw it all play out in real time. So who won? I'll let y'all decide. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Was this a genius move by YoungBoy, or did Choppa get the reaction he deserved? Let me know. And yo, if you made it this far, do me a favor. Hit that like button, share this with someone who needs to see it, and subscribe, because we're dropping content like this every single day on Uncovered. We're breaking down the culture, the beef, the business, and everything in between. Until next time, stay sharp, stay informed, and remember, sometimes the coldest move is the one you don't make. Peace.